Bonjour, welcome to 6.5 passé composé with être. So the last section we learned that to make the past tense you need, or the passé composé, it's composed of two parts. Your first auxiliary verb, and which is in the present tense, and then the second part, which is the past participle. Now most verbs use avoir, but there is a list, which is basically this one, that you take être to be the auxiliary verb. So you need to know être. If you don't, you need to memorize that right away, otherwise all your past tense sentences, that and avoir, will be wrong. So, remember, je suis, tu es, il est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont. This is our auxiliary verb, the first verb, which is conjugated in the present tense, and then we have to add our past participle. The past participle, the rules work just the same way as they did with avoir. Our ER verbs change through the E, take off the ER, add the E accent aigu, take off the IR, add an I, take off the RE, add a U. Most of the verbs follow that, except for some of the ones with irregular past participles, so make sure you memorize those separately. So how do you do it? Just like what we did with avoir, and we use these verbs. These are the ones that must use être as the auxiliary verb. So we have devenir, revenir, mourir, rester, sortir, venir, arriver, naître, to be born, descendre, entrer, rentre, tomber, retourner, aller, monter, passer, partir. So, all these are to be used with être. We know these as Dr., Mrs., Vander, Tramp. That is a way to help you memorize them all. Or there's another way, which is the house, because you'll see that most of these verbs have to do with a house. You're going to, let's see, we're going to stay in our house. We'll just have them staying in the house. And you'll have them go out from the house, sortir, and they're coming to the house, venir. They're arriving, again, arriver, arriving at the house. They're being born, I don't know, I guess you could, let's just put a little stork here. I don't know how to draw a stork with the little baby in the thing here. Okay, I don't know what a stork looks like. It has wings. Okay, the baby being born, descendre. Okay, the person's going down now. Entrer, also you enter into a house. Rentre, you return to a house. Tomber, maybe this person is falling down the stairs in the house. Retourner, again they're coming back to the house. Aller, they're leaving, they're going from the house. Monter, now they're going up the stairs. Passé, they're passing by the house. It's a different passé. We have passé to pass the salt, to pass the pepper. And then we have passé where you pass by something. And partir, also you're leaving. So devenir and revenir fits. Devenir, like to become, might not always fit. Mourir, and then oops, they fall out the window and then they die. Like, so there's two separate ways. You can look on the internet for, it's the maison, the house of être, and there's some really cute illustrations to help you memorize that all these verbs use être. Or you can use Dr. Mrs. Vander Tramp. Either one is fine, whatever works for you. If you're a more visual person, if you're more analytical, whatever works. So now let's make a sentence. So, if you're using one of these verbs, like I went, you need to, let's say, I. Now what do? We say am. Suis. The present tense of the auxiliary verb être. Je suis. Now we need to go down here. We have aller. Aller is an ER. It ends in ER. Take off the ER. Add an E with an accent aigu. Je suis allé. I am gone. You can literally translate it. I am gone. But when you translate it, a better translation would be, I went. I arrived. Okay, let's start with, n'arrive, let's do descendre, like I went down. That's an RE verb. I went out. Okay? So, I am gone out. I am gone down. I am arrived. If you think about them as adjectives, I am something, then that should send off the little alarm bells in your mind, because these are acting almost like adjectives. Just like I am tall, I am short. What do we do with the adjectives? We have to make them accord with the noun that they are describing, in which case this is the subject. So if you were a girl, you need to add an E. Add an E, add an E, add an E. If you're a guy, just leave it alone. But say we're talking about a group of people. Ils, they, let's see, let's pick, they fell. They fell. They are fallen. Tombé. Now, this has to accord with il. We add an S. Just like what we would do if this was an adjective, because it's kind of acting like an adjective now. Or they fell. Elles sont tombées. We need to add an E and an S, because it's feminine and it's plural. So if you remember all those rules, that one, when we do past tense, we need the present tense of an auxiliary verb plus a past participle, which are these rules. Two, you remember that sometimes there's irregular past participles that break these rules. Or three, if it's any of these verbs, you need to use être and not avoir. Then four, treat it like an adjective. It needs to agree in number, S or no S, and gender, extra E or no extra E, with the subject, the person that's doing the action.